Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Book Buzz. I am Cheryl Brooks, your host, and tonight I am glad to be speaking with Rona D. Drinkard, aka Rona D, about her book Friendship Matters. Um, and I'm going to read you a little bit about her so you know who we're going to be talking to tonight. Rona D. Drinkard is a self published award winning author and a native of Buffalo, New York. The setting of her debut novel, Friendship Matters. And here is the book. Love this cover, by the way, Friendship Matters. And um, she received her bachelor's degree from Damon College and her master's degree from Buffalo State University. Although Rona relocated to Maryland from Buffalo in 2003 with her daughter, she still longed for the culture, family, and friends she left behind. Writing became a way of reconnecting with those she loved and missed dearly. Out of this came her debut novel, Friendship Matters. Since its release, Rona D has won 13 awards, both domestic and internationally, in the categories of African American fiction, women's fiction, general fiction, romantic comedy, and relationship humor. In April 2022, returning home for a book signing at the Frank E. Merriweather Jr. Library, where she received quite the homecoming celebration. Equally notable, April 30th was proclaimed Rona D. Drinkard Day in both the city and county of Buffalo, along with being provided multiple declarations from city councilmen, the state, and the Senate. Currently, Rona resides in Maryland with her husband, daughter, and granddaughter. And without any more delay, I'm going to bring on my guest tonight, author Rona D, and also my guest host, co-host tonight, I should say, Katina Brown. All right. All right. Looks better that way. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too. I don't know if I mentioned to you before, but this is one of my favorite topics to talk about: friendships.
Okay.
Both male and female, but especially female friendships, because I don't think it's portrayed enough, particularly in Black culture. We're portrayed as not being able to keep female friends, basically. So I always look forward to reading stories and watching stories that portray strong female sisterhoods. And so I really was excited to read your book and to talk to you about it. Like I had said in your bio, this is your debut novel, correct?
Correct.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And you self-published?
I did. So this novel was actually written in 2005 is when I finished writing it.
Oh, really? Okay.
In 2005, but at that time I could not afford to self-publish. So all I did was copyright. And during COVID, we all experienced so much time off.
Mm-hmm.
I remember God saying to me, you cannot leave COVID the same way you came in. And I told my husband at that time, now I'm married, life is different, right? It's almost 17 years later. I was going to move forward with my book. And he was like, let's do it. He always wanted to read it anyway. So that's where my motivation came from. It was something that I started when I first relocated, and then I ended up finishing it December 5th of 2005.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and was that the first time that you tried your hand at writing professionally?
Yes.
2005?
Yes.
Okay.
And And I think it was really just, I was initially, when I started drafting the book, it was called Episodes, because I had a friend, have a friend in Buffalo. Her name is Lisa, and we used to work together. And every time something would happen, we'd be like, "Girl, I got to tell you about this episode. Let me tell you about this episode." So when I started writing the book, it was episodes, and I think you can kind of feel that when you read it, different
Mhm.
pockets. But as these characters became so connected to one another, episodes didn't fit anymore to
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
And so somewhere Friendship Matters came out of that. And it was twofold for me. It was, the story gives you the matters of friendship, and
Mhm.
it proves and shows you why friendship matters. And so I think that topic and that title was perfect to, summarize their relationship and how they connect with one another.
Yeah, I agree. I love the title, and I agree with it. Friendship does matter.
Yes.
And what research did you do to learn about self-publishing?
So interesting enough, I mean, Google was around, but I
Okay.
was reading books, right? I was reading books when I was first self-publishing. There were a lot of things that weren't available at that time that are now available. So initially, all I knew is, okay, you got to pay for an editor, and all, it seemed like a lot of money. So I was like, I'm not ready to do it. I can't afford it.
Mhm.
When I started the process in 2020, the end of 2020, it was great, right? They had Readsy. I was able to use that site to find all publishers. I just did a lot of Googling. I downloaded a couple of books. The biggest thing that stuck out the most is that I had just written this book. I gave it
Mhm.
chapters. And I had read somewhere in the audio book that I downloaded, she said that you should outline first. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I done wrote this book. It's 300 plus pages, and I ain't got no outline. And so then she proceeded to say, and if you did not do so beforehand,
Mhm.
you must do so before you move forward.
Mm.
That was taxing. But what it did was, because I had written for over 2 years this book, and then think about it, it went through several laptops because I kept it, right? So I transferred it, several iterations of Word, uh,
Right.
formatting, and I would write, I would change a little bit, maybe here and there, very small things. And so I had to pull it all back together. So outlining allowed me to really organize it a little better, which out of that came, how when Seisha is speaking, I announce her, and then you
Mhm.
have 2, 3, or 4 chapters of Seisha, and then it goes into Unique.
Right.
So that was very helpful, and I'm very glad I did it. But so that was the type of research. The review companies, I started getting the book reviewed October of 2021 before I published February 5th of 2022, because I needed to figure out how well it was received. And to be honest, I was shocked because
Okay.
I really didn't write it for the masses. I really wrote it for myself when I started. So you just don't know how that's going to be received.
And did you try like shopping it around traditionally first, or did you always know that
I
you were
did
going
not.
to? Okay.
I did not. I went straight to self-publishing. Yeah.
That was great. That's good that you knew that that's the route you wanted to go.
Yeah, I wanted to maintain my voice. I didn't want anybody telling me I couldn't say ain't, or certain things. For this book here, I really wanted to see if I could do it,
Mm.
and if people who didn't know me felt it the way that I felt it. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Right.
That mattered to me. So, it was a blessing to be able to do that, because not everybody has that ability. And again, I didn't have it earlier on. So it was a blessing.
And for those who haven't read the book, can you tell us a little bit about what the story is about?
So it's about 3 ladies. And these ladies, that's Seisha. She starts the book off. She's who I call my sassy character. And then you have Unique. She's the conservative friend that is like the foundational friend. And then you have Candace, who I consider more of the dutiful friend. She does
Mhm.
and has been doing as she should, right? And
Mm.
these friends, all very different, come together, and when they come together, they do it in such a way that is so natural that you would almost think that they're sisters, they're so close. So Seisha spends her time, she's trying to replace her first love. He moved away, and so in doing so, and unconsciously, I think she's entertaining men that are not single, some that are connected. um, and so she's trying to find her way, trying to find love in her life. So she's a real estate agent, so she has the freedom to get out and meet people and different things like that. Then you have Unique, who is a widowed psychotherapist, mother of a 9-year-old, and she lost her husband, and she's very much focused on making sure that her son is the best little gentleman that he can be. So she has no time and energy for love. She's very much focused on being the foundation for her friends and her family. Then you have Candace, who is married with 2 children to shaking her
Well,
head. I love it. I love it. Married with 2 children, and she has given up her dreams to support her husband's career. And he's not the most faithful gentleman either. And so she's given up a lot. And so, although they're very different, they come together and support each other in such a way that, like what you spoke about, you don't see that sisterhood in the media as much. I think we're starting to see it a little more, but you didn't really see that as much. But what they do is they come together, and while they're going through their ups and downs, and some of it is hilarious, some of it is very sad, all of it, in my opinion, is relatable. They just show you how you support one another despite those ups and downs that they experience. Hmm.
Oh, I didn't realize that she was off.
That's okay.
Okay, that's fine. You good, Cheryl?
That's okay. I'm back.
I'm sorry, I was looking
I had a
down.
cough that I'm dealing with, and my eyes were watering, so I went to black for a moment.
I'm
It's
sorry.
all good. It's all good. I appreciate you hanging in there.
And we have someone in the audience. Hi, Ola. How are you?
Hi, Ola.
Have you read the book, Ola? Let us know if you've read the book yet. Also, Rona is going to read a little snippet from the book. If you're okay with reading it right now, Rona,
Sure.
to give everybody an idea of just a little bit of what they can expect.
Yeah, so this is considered, I mean, they've referred to Friendship Matters as women's fiction, romantic comedy. I think it covers all of those different genres, so to speak. But I decided to read from Alone in the Club, chapter 35, where Seisha, it just gives you a snippet of Seisha's character and how spicy she is. And always, it's always something with Seisha. I start out with her because she gives you that. So I think the book kind of pulls you in initially. But this one, I'll set the scene for you. She has met this gentleman. Her and Candace were hanging out, and she met this gentleman named Lenny. And so she decided to go on a date with Lenny. And so at this moment, she's getting herself prepared and ready to receive him. Cameron, another interest of hers, has called, but she turned Cameron down. She said, I'm going to go hang with Lenny, right? And so I started where she's sitting down, and Lenny is supposed to come at 8 p.m. So she's sitting down waiting for Lenny.
Okay.
Okay. I was finally able to sit down around 7:45. I relaxed on my couch, watched television while drinking some wine, and waited for Lenny to call and say he was outside. I began watching Harlem Nights. Of course, I was laughing my butt off. I was so into the movie that I didn't even realize it was now 8:15. Now, how tacky. I called his cell phone, and it sounded like he answered and then hung up. I'm really pissed that I chose him instead of Cameron. Our first date, and he's late. I tried calling one more time, and his phone went straight to voicemail. I was fuming, and I wished I could think of a way to tell Cameron my plans had changed. As I got up to go to the kitchen, my phone rang. It was Lenny. I answered the phone with as much irritation as I could muster. Hello, I said. Seisha, I'm so sorry. My phone was acting up and I'm running late, but I will be there in about 10 minutes. I'll make it up to you, okay? Don't be mad, please. Lenny, I almost don't want to go anymore. I was excited, but that left about 30 minutes ago. I know, Seisha, but I'm truly sorry. Let me make it up to you, please. I'm waiting, Lenny. I'll talk to you when you get here. I hung up the phone. I tried to calm myself and get over it so I didn't mess up the rest of the night. About 5 minutes later, he pulled up in a Beamer. That took away just a little of my aggravation. I walked out and he was standing near the car waiting to open the door for me. I smiled slightly, said hi, and stepped into the car. He got back into the car smiling like he was 5 minutes early instead of 45 minutes late. This will be the last time I go out with this fool, I thought as I smiled back. Seisha, you look splendid. He had the audacity to laugh like it was a really good joke. I fought not to roll my eyes. Oh, he is corny as hell. Thanks, I said, unimpressed. Have you ever been to Club Splendid before? No, I haven't. This will be my first time. Well, that's good. This will be an experience for the both of us, he said almost too eagerly. His cell phone rang and he looked like he had seen a ghost. I didn't know what this fool's problem was, but he was getting on my last nerve. He acted as if he answered it, but he really hung up on the person. That was an obvious sign. He's trying to avoid someone. So, Seisha, I'm so glad you decided to come out with me today. Yeah, who is that on the CD? I asked, changing the subject. Oh, that's Calvin Richardson. He can sing, can he? He sounds really good. His phone rang again. Now, either he is a bit slow or maybe he should turn the damn thing off. He looked over at me with a I'm so stupid grin, and I blatantly rolled my eyes as hard as I could to reinforce his feelings. Is there a problem, Lenny? I asked as if I didn't know what was going on. Why would you say that? Everything's cool, he replied nervously. It just seems like you have some unfinished business to tend to. If that's the case, you can take me back home. There is no way that I'm taking your fine behind back home. We are going to have a great time, he said without providing any explanation as to avoiding calls. I just continued to bop to the music. This is going to be an interesting night. We finally pulled up to the club. It was packed. It seems like everyone pulled up at the same damn time. There was a line of about 20 people, so we sat in the car for a few minutes. He began to wipe his head as if he was sweating. It wasn't hot in the car, so clearly he was nervous. I could hear the music and everyone seemed eager to get in there and party. As I was thinking about going inside, I realized that Lenny was too quiet. Hey, Lenny, are you ready to go in? Oh, yeah, sure, let's go in. He didn't sound excited, but I was, so I opened my door and stepped out. When we entered the club, he immediately excused himself to go to the bathroom. I knew he was going to make a call because he could barely wait until he got in there to pull his phone out. I didn't care though, because they were playing my jam by DMX. I began dancing in my chair and was suddenly pulled onto the dance floor by an all right looking guy. I felt awkward, but then I didn't see Lenny and I thought, what the hell? He's got something going on anyway. I was facing the door to the men's room so that when he came out, I could get his attention. Every time I was ready to get off the dance floor, they played another jam. I couldn't stop until they played Pac Jam. I wanted to continue, but my old body wouldn't allow me to do the dance that went with it. I gave up and thanked the nice guy. As I was walking off the floor, I noticed that Lenny was finally leaving the bathroom looking nervous and stupid at the same time. I could tell he was searching for me, so I waved my hand to let him know where I was. Just when he realized it was me, some woman walked up to him with her finger all in his face. I almost stopped, dropped, and rolled. I was not trying to get caught up in his mess. I turned around immediately and hoped that the all right looking guy did not have a new dance partner. He grabbed me before I saw him and we went back to dancing. I made sure I faced the drama. Lenny seemed so fearful. He was trying to play hard, but girlfriend made a pure fool of him. He finally caught my eye and gave me the sad face that said, "Sorry, you're going to have to find a ride home." I smirked, politely stuck up my middle finger, and turned to face my dance partner. As we danced, I thought about the conversation Unique would have with me as she drove me home. So that's the snippet from Alone in the Club, chapter 35. That is Seisha.
I love that.
Thank you. It
And
was a fun chapter to write.
I was laughing again as you were reading it.
Mhm.
Ola, the book is Friendship Matters. Here's the cover.
Mhm. My girl Seisha. Hey, Dana. That's one of my team members.
Okay. Hi, Dana.
Hi, Dana.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna get a little bit into the theme of friendship, and
Okay.
I was wanted to know, what characteristics do you value most in a friend?
I think trust and honesty are most important. But for me, developing a friendship is that person's spirit. I like good people.
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with people who don't have genuine intentions. And so, oh, thank you so much, Ola. I struggle with that. So that spirit is important to me. Your honesty and honesty comes, in my opinion, in different ways. Sometimes I want to be honest with you, but I may not be able to share it with you in a certain way. I may say it too harshly, but then that's where you have that other friend that might say, okay, let's do it this way. Let's say it this
Mm-hmm.
way, but being able to be upfront and honest, um, that is very important. That's my husband, and that's his favorite,
Okay.
Hashim, is
Candace.
his name. He loves Candace. But I think those are the most important qualities to me.
And I did notice that in the book, there were certain times when, and we do this with our girlfriends, we know which ones to talk to
Mm-hmm.
About
about
what?
certain things.
Right.
Right. That's
Based
right.
on what you want to hear,
Yeah.
you call that friend. Or
Yes.
so that did, come to life in this book for sure. I
Yeah.
did notice a lot, which was great.
And I think that's key. People, to me, would say, well, you should have your friends, you should be able to tell them everything.
Mm.
I mean, you should. That would be nice, but only God can accept everything you have to give. That's a lot to put on a person.
Hmm.
And sometimes, you know how you might have that friend that if you tell them, they're going to be more
Mm-hmm.
mad at the person that
Then you
you
are right.
over than they still mad at them. So that's
Mm-hmm.
that friend. You can't give them that peace.
No.
You know what I mean? Because they take it too personal.
Right. Right.
So you have to, that's what building those relationships and that friendship becomes. You learn what I can tell this one, when I can tell this one, or you just learn that. And it doesn't mean because I can't tell you this piece that you're not my friend. You're still my friend. It's just
Right.
we're wired differently. We're very complex.
Hmm.
I agree. And it's the same with because I have some very good friends, some that I've had since childhood, some I've met, in school and at work and along the way and in my book world. Um, and you're right. Different friends you have different relationships with,
But
but
they
they're
still
all
your
still
friend.
good friends. But
Absolutely.
but they're different. You know, everybody has different things that they bring to the
Right.
relationship.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I'm a fix it friend. You
Mm.
know, if you want to ear, you may have to call the other friend.
Right.
Because once I hear it, I want to give suggestions. I want to help you fix it. And you may not feel like that today. You know
Right.
what I mean? So maybe you'll call me once you have more of a solution and then we could talk about it. And it's not like that. But I will, if you say, hey, Rona, I need you to just listen. Okay, I will listen. But
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult.
Mhm.
I want to help. You know what I mean? I'm that type of friend. So, and ain't nothing wrong with that. You just
Right.
need to know
Right.
who to go to when you need what you need, just like Tina said.
Right.
Mhm.
And what about you, Tina? Do you have like your core group of friends that you?
Yeah, and it's been the same. I'll be 50 in June, but I've had the same friends since I've been married. I got married, and they've been the same people. And like you guys, it's the certain people that like I know, and it's probably sad. People that I know that I can get a certain response from, just so I make myself feel better, But that
Oh,
one person, right? That one, I know she's gonna be like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I'm calling her today.
I'm not calling her.
Right. Right. Right.
Right, right,
But it's needed, and
right.
it's balanced. It's all balanced,
It's
and
all
like here with this book, they balanced each other out
Mm-hmm.
completely. And
mhm.
it felt good. It felt like when I wrote the review after I read it, I said it felt like these were like some of my girlfriends.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We sat down with with Seisha and her all her food, and we you know
Listen, you want to eat
chatted
good.
it up. We cried. We did whatever we needed to do, and we were good. So yeah.
Right, right. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you know what else I loved about it? This is another thing that is a favorite of mine is the music. When you were talking about the different artists and the songs, and we talked about this before, Tina, when we
We
say
did.
when we go and we pull up the song that you talked about or that you mentioned in the book.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So I did that a lot as well. And I wanted to ask you, how what how do you feel about music and what does it bring to your life as far as like for me, it can put me in a good mood. Like if I need like a pick me up,
Mm-hmm.
I turn on my music, my usually my oldies but goodies
Right,
R&B.
right.
What about you?
So what's interesting about that is I didn't realize I had that many songs in it
Oh,
until the
really?
reviewer told me. She was like, one of the reviewers, she was like, I love the playlist. And I said, playlist? I actually went
Right.
back and reread the book and realized I want to say it was 41 songs. I
Mm.
had no idea. But the reason why is so natural because I love music.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see like it's gospel songs in there, is regular secular songs in there because music is every part of my life personally.
Right.
I enjoy it. And so I think to make the book as authentic as it was, I couldn't have written it without music being in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I do the same thing. We were raised up and you cleaning on Saturday, they turning on Teddy Pendergrass and Patti LaBelle and whomever. Um, that's what it was. And so it's the same thing. My daughter does it, but
So you can sing your face off,
say
Rona.
it again. What do you say?
You said you can clean your face off. You said
Uh-huh.
Oh, I ain't talking about me. Thank you. He's so good. I love
Ain't
my husband.
true.
I do.
Shame the devil.
We got to get it. We got to get a little preview.
Oh
Mhm.
no, I ain't singing. I ain't singing. I'm thinking about it. I'm mad he put that up there. But the characters did get each of them took pieces of me, and I did
Mm.
give Candace the voice. That's what I gave her of mine. But yeah, that is one of those things. Music is just amazing to me, and all of them were songs at that time, right? Because like I said,
Right.
these are older songs because the book was written in 2000, between 2003 and 2005.
Right.
So you don't see anything right now. You know what I mean? You know, it's all those songs from back then.
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was another favorite of mine. And what do you and your friends do when you get together as far as to have fun and to sit back and chill, or do you all go out and do adventurous stuff, or what do you do?
We do everything.
Everything?
When early on, when our children were young, our thing was, you know, we would do our parties because, you know, back then we were built like we could party Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
Right, right.
Saturday, Sunday, if Monday was a holiday, and never missed work. You know, we were built different back then. So we would party,
Mhm.
but we also used to do these Sunday dinners. And we would
Mm.
come together with our children, you know, and cook. That was where we would, you know, have crab legs or steak or whatever the case may be. So that's early on. Those were the things we do. And now we've kind of ventured into, you know, traveling, love to travel, wine festivals, love outdoor concerts, in, you know, any type of concert, tastings, all sorts of that. I mean, we're actually going to one this coming Saturday.
Okay.
We love doing things as a group, and we still come together. It was so funny during COVID. One of my real good friends, she, Dana said, cut up. That's exactly what we did. She was out on our deck with us. It was like, you know how you had the small set of people that you hung around the whole time
Mhm.
during COVID? We were on that deck listening to D Nice.
Okay.
Every time he would be playing, I mean, he got us all through COVID. But these are those things that I love to do. Social events. I'm always planning something. You know, that's mostly what we do. We get together, hang out, we play spades.
Yeah, that's my husband's thing right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And left, right, center. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but that's a lot of fun too.
Yes.
Oh, you know what I
Mhm.
have? Is that when everybody stands in the circle, and is that, or is it a
No, it's
card
with the
game?
dice.
Oh, okay, so that's
Yeah.
different.
And yeah, you pay $1 a person, but it's a lot of fun. So we do everything.
I'm gonna have to get more information on that from you because we do a lot of games and in our family and with my
Mhm.
friends.
Yeah,
And I want to get back into it because I've
yeah,
been
you would
away
love
for
it.
a minute.
Somebody said yes, that's fun. Bring plenty of dollar bills. That's right. Right.
um, if you go to the description at the top of the comments, it'll give you you can give Facebook and StreamYard permission to show your face and your name. Otherwise, it's going to continue to show Facebook user. Just a
Oh, okay.
just a FYI.
Hmm.
Okay, and then what's your favorite friendship movie?
Believe it or not, Still Magnolias. That one
Oh,
has
I love that
been
movie.
since I was younger. That was one because the women were so hilarious to me, and so uniquely different.
Hmm.
Um, that's an older one. And then I would say probably Love Jones. I love the friendship and the relationship in Love Jones.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, those are two of my faves.
Um, I was thinking about I'm trying to think. I like the brothers. That was one
That
that I
was good,
liked.
right?
Hmm.
That was good.
That was good.
Mhm, mhm.
And
Another one would be Waiting to Exhale.
Yes,
oh yeah, yeah.
that was a good one.
That
Terry
was a
Hmm.
McMillan.
really good
Mhm,
one.
mhm. I remember reading that book.
Me too.
Mhm, mhm,
We
mhm.
It was all the rage.
Yeah, it was a good book. Yeah. Mhm.
um,
do.
and you all in the audience, let us know what's your favorite friendship movie.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
Look,
It's
I would.
interesting when you try to
Mhm.
think about that. Movies aren't really, they're either love, they're drama,
Right.
they're not identified, of course, as just a friendship movie. So you have to really pull it out and say
Mhm.
that that's what I got from that movie. That's
Right.
what I received when I
Right.
watched it, you know.
Mhm.
Or why did
That's
I get
true.
married? And Best Man, yeah. All the Best Man movies, yeah.
I was going to ask you too. This was something that
Set it
that
off.
I heard. I was watching something and they brought this up, and I said, that's a good question. What are some of the common challenges that arise in female friendships? Do you think? Um,
I would say common in the sense, the most common thing would be, and this is experienced in the book, um, not being mad at you for your decision,
mm,
still
that's
loving you through it,
that's a
you
good one.
know, and being able to genuinely care and not just let go of you because I don't agree with maybe you staying with him or maybe even the way that you treat another person or whatever that case may be. Um, I think that's a common thing that people struggle with in just
Mm-hmm.
relationships,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and definitely in friendships. It's a challenge, I think.
And one that I've noticed is when you have friends and they have friends and you try to merge the two friends, that can be
Hmm.
a challenge sometimes if if the personalities don't get along or rub the wrong way. Um,
True.
that can be a challenge as well. What about you, Tina? What you think?
It reminded me of one of my friends who actually went through, like, she had marriage issues with her
Mm,
husband, and they counseling, and the things that she told me, you know that's your friend, and you're like, all your, you know defense things come up, and you want to defend and be mad at them, and together we hate them, when you were in high school and you hated everybody that you
Right,
mhm.
hated. So,
right,
and I wanted to do that, but then they reconciled, and who am I to, sit there with my arms crossed,
right.
because that's her relationship.
Right.
And whether she's with him, she's not with him, I support her. So that was something I had to sit myself down with, you know, and because it's, sometimes when you have groups, when married folks, we're grouped together, we're always going to eat and do things all together. Everybody doesn't have that capacity to be
Mm-hmm.
able to do that. So
Mhm.
sometimes, like, I'll say, well, we let's go over. And my husband, he's still in his feelings about it. Is, I don't like him, and I don't blah blah blah. I'm like, well,
Mhm.
she has to go home to that. We don't,
Right. Right.
and he's the, well, as a man, I expect this, and he should be this and that. And I get all that. But the way I do friendship is I'm like the opposite of you, Rona. I'm the listener. So
You're the listener. Okay.
I try not to prescribe
Me
too
too.
much. I sit and I listen. And then
Mhm.
if you say, what do you think? Well, I'm all over it then. But
Right, right. You at
but I
least give them
know,
a chance.
right. I give you a chance to give it.
Mhm.
What are you thinking? Well, what do you want to do? I kind of ask the kind of interview questions. What are you
Mhm.
thinking about doing? That kind of thing.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
most times with those type of things, I just sat back and, I love you and I see it. It's probably not all that great, but but when you're ready to trash them, I'm with you.
Right.
I'm with you.
Right, 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 right. I
But see, but
understand.
that goes back to what you were saying too, Rona, is that you have to be careful when you share some things because they're going to have that long memory about
Right.
certain things.
Right,
And even though you're okay now,
right,
situation, they're
right.
going to remember. Um, and I know with some things too that I've had in the past, um, is when a friend tells you a lot of things and not just tells you but vents and breaks down and but then they keep repeating the same thing and then they want to dump on you. that
That's
that is
hard.
another that is another challenge,
That's hard.
when repeating the same thing and then you still bringing it to your friends.
Right.
Yeah, so that can be challenging too.
Right, right. Because eventually you're gonna be like, listen, I don't want to hear it no more.
Right,
Okay,
right,
because you clearly don't want to stop it. You just
right,
like, I
right,
can't
right.
take it no more, you know. But even
Um,
like Tina said, it makes me think we have this saying that I can't be more mad at him than you.
right.
You gotta let that go because it becomes one of those things that will be um, uh, a wall that will eventually keep you guys separated. You'll lose
Hmm.
that friendship. I
Mhm.
will say you mentioned one thing that I haven't really experienced a lot of bringing others into the fold,
Mm,
but I could see and that becoming an issue. I
hmm.
haven't had that become an issue, but I could see, there were a couple of times where you could see that the mix they had to
Hmm.
they had to get to know the position of the person and the spirit of that person to say that
Mhm.
they're not trying to necessarily be harsh or anything. That's just how they talk,
Right.
or something like that. So I could see that being definitely a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because actually I had that situation in my 20s, actually maybe early 30s, where I had two friends. We were all friends, but and it was another issue actually. This is something different where um, they actually had a falling out,
Oh, I
and
think
then
somebody just mentioned that. Yeah.
and
Mhm.
then it put me in an awkward position because I had a birthday party coming up actually, and it became a big issue. Are you inviting so and so? So that kind of thing also.
Mhm. I can see it.
And I had to say, you know what, I'm neutral as far as
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But things
Mhm.
like that can come up in friendships.
True.
And Shelly View is saying, no, sometimes don't work, and I learned that is okay in a friendship.
Yeah.
So you mean saying no, Michelle, to pick to the friends and that being enough? Let's see. Staying friends with both when they fall out. Oh yeah, that's what happened with
Mhm.
me. Yep, in the middle.
Mhm. I think what Shelley's was saying was more about bringing friends in the fold that don't mix.
Oh,
And you just kind of just accept that they just, I'm gonna have to hang out with you. This is what I think. Maybe she'll say, oh yeah, that's what she's saying.
Mhm.
Merging different groups of people sometimes doesn't work. Yeah. Hmm.
and that's true. Even with family, sometimes and in-laws, some people you can't really
They bring them around
they're
each
not
other.
gonna right. You got to do separate things,
Mhm.
but
Yeah. Right.
Mhm.
It
and
happens.
then I
Look
see
at
some people
Tina.
responded to when I asked about their favorite movie. We
Oh
have
yeah.
Why Did I Get Married is one.
Hmm.
Uh, Best Man, definitely. Yep.
Hmm.
Set It Off. I
They
forgot
were
about
ride or die, weren't they?
I,
Hmm.
I forgot about them. You're right.
Hmm. Hmm.
All good. Um, and let's see. And I think your husband actually said this. One of my questions about what do strong friendships do they encourage personal growth and development? Do you think?
I think they should.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't believe in friendships like we all have to be the same. We all have to like the same things and want to everybody wants to be the same and do the same things. I don't think you grow in that.
Mm-hmm.
You need a person like Unique that is going to be the balance between, kind of what the best way to approach things and stuff like that. You need a Seisha that's going to be fun and just, hey, look, let's just do this. I'm going to say this. You need certain personalities like
Right.
that. I think that's where the growth should happen. We all learn from one another.
True.
Hmm.
In different interests, you try different things based on
Right,
other
right.
people's interests. Yeah, I agree with that. What you think, Tina?
For sure. For sure. It's in everybody. And sometimes you never know when that little nugget will hit home, as people say,
Hmm.
or that aha moment. and,
Right.
and that moment when you are fearful and you don't want to make a move, and somebody says something or does something that inspires you, and that's the light bulb moment, So
Mm-hmm.
everybody, I mean, we can't all be the same, but be quite boring. So
Right.
Boring.
Right.
we would not get along at all.
Right.
I do
At
think
all.
I agree with that. Mhm.
Not at all.
And I agree, Shelly. I used to same with me, want everybody to get along, but it's okay if they don't. It's okay if they don't.
Mhm.
And keep me out the mix.
Right. No, don't want no problems.
Let me see.
I do have one question. Sure, if
Mm-hmm.
that's okay.
Yeah,
Um,
go ahead.
there were you had three different levels of relationships in this book, from infidelity to waiting for love, fear of love. Was there any inspiration behind these situations and these characters, in those I guess three emotional states that they were in?
Um, I don't necessarily know that there was any inspiration. I think their situation kind of fit their personality,
Okay.
and their approach to love, and where they were at. And I think it just kind of blossomed from there. Stacia, when I created her, it was kind of like, yeah, somebody free, does what she wants to do, how she wants to do it, could care less what people think type. It was just kind of coming up with that and saying, what would that look like for her? Say Candace comes in late because she actually was thought of late,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so to speak. I don't know that when I started with her that she was going to be as close of a friend initially.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay.
she was my most difficult character to write, but that's another conversation if you choose to find out a little more about that. But yes, inspiration, not necessarily from personal experience, more from what fit their personalities. You know what I mean? It just became like way more than what I expected. And I was able to just keep going with them. I was very surprised about that.
Now, what was it about Candace that made her hard to write?
Um, so I will say that then everything was black and white for me when I was writing at that age, at that time, and I didn't see the gray. And
Mm-hmm.
she lives in the gray,
Mm-hmm.
and so she got on my last nerve. And so I would be writing stuff with her, and writing, and I would be so irritated. I remember like, oh, I can't stand her. And I just like, how do you create somebody you can't stand? I don't know. But it got to a point where I really had to figure out a way to love her, to like her, to make her
Mhm.
stronger than she initially appeared.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so once I was able to do that, it was better for me. Now, when I published the book, I just knew everybody was going to be like, Saisha. And, not so much Unique because she's Debbie Downer for some people in their minds.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't believe the amount of people that was Candace was their favorite character. I was like, really? I couldn't stand her. But today I understand
Right.
Gray. So I have a different feeling towards her now, because I could see it a little clearer. You go through life, you make decisions, and you try to do right by your decision, and then you look up 20 years later and wow, I done sacrificed my whole self. You
Right.
know, so I could get it, but I did not like her initially. She got on my nerves.
And then what I think it is too is I experience it sometimes in when I read stories. I'm harder on the females a lot of the time, and it's mainly because I see maybe something in myself or something that I experienced years ago that
Mhm.
they're going
You
through
wanna
in
get
that
it right.
particular
Mhm.
story that
Mhm.
just brings it all up, and I'm um so I can relate to what you're saying, because I was speaking to another author, and I was just hard on one of her female characters, and she asked me why was I giving the guy the pass so much, so then the female, and I had to think about that. Yeah, you're right. I am, and
Mhm.
why, and that was why, because we see ourselves in that character.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
or we see what we don't like,
In that
or
character.
don't want to
Mhm.
become in that character.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mhm. And I try to make it balanced, although the men aren't primary,
Mhm.
they are secondary, but they're strong in the sense that you got some good ones and you got some bad ones. And I think that's just how life is, men and women. And so I think that kind of, no one, I haven't met anyone yet that likes Travis, but I would love to meet someone that says, I thought Travis was great, but you know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's mixed feelings about Cameron,
Mhm.
um, and about Lamont and
Mm.
about Earl. Well, everybody says Earl's a gentleman, but like I would say Lamont and Cameron, people kind of either like them or don't. It's interesting.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Because that's interesting, because when Lamont came in, I
Right,
had my like, I was like, I don't know.
right,
Really legit, you know?
right, right, right. You were waiting to see.
I was, well, let me see. Is he really all the hype that she's, giving him, And
Hmm.
then when it happened, it was like, okay, I got it. But I was waiting for the shoe to fall like the whole
Right, 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 right. Yeah.
Right.
You-
Especially because she built. It seemed like she kept building up things
Oh
in her
yeah.
mind
Oh my gosh.
about things that weren't really happening as far as
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
relationships.
And I didn't want her to be, look at me like feeling for her. I didn't want her to be disappointed. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right,
Because she
right,
was really putting a lot into this relationship. And I felt like if he didn't step up, I was just gonna be mad.
right, 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 right,
you
right.
know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I get that for
Was
sure.
it fun for you to write the male characters, or what did you
It
pull on
was.
for that? Did you
It was.
get input from your husband on the male characters?
I didn't know my husband. I
Okay.
met my husband in 2011.
Okay.
So this book was already done. But I will say that, I have probably just as many male friends as I have female friends. And then I got siblings and, so I was able to create their characters well enough. I could never write a book about primarily men, but
Mhm.
I could give you those pieces because of the
Mhm.
relationships that I think I have. And so for me, I think that it was fun writing them. I had fun with some, especially like the Lenny and the Savon, and it was just hilarious to me to write it because you experience those things when you're dating. You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
clowning and stuff. So yeah, it was good, and it's nothing like having a gentleman. So I thought Earl was that perfect piece for that. Hmm.
Your husband is saying Lamont should have never left any room for doubt. Should have stayed and figured it out.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, he made a decision, stuck with it. Hmm.
And I'm going to backtrack a little bit when we were talking about when I was saying how I like reading about and watching about stories about strong friendships, both male and female, but that we don't get a lot of that portrayed, especially with women and especially with Black women, especially with a lot of the reality shows and things
Hmm.
that we see with a lot of the backbiting and things.
Right.
I was trying to think of when have we seen like a really solid friendship, and I came to mind, Oprah and Gail. That was the first time I remember seeing a true solid friendship between two Black females portrayed and showcased and celebrated on, and that's because Oprah made sure it was basically.
She had the
Um,
power to do so.
she had the power to do it. But before that, I don't remember actually, because if I remember correctly, people were actually like surprised and shocked that somebody can have a best friend that they did things for, looked out for. That was a sister, basically. And
So
I
you
said that you think things are changing, um, that we're going in another direction. What you think about, Tina? You think we are going in a different direction as far as that?
I think we are. It just depends on what era you were born in. You know, just a different mindset with the millenniums, and our age group. There was, I mean, there was some type of level of respect that that was, each of us had, I believe, at least I did, for for uh for friends in relationship, and recognizing the boundaries, that you have with friendship, and the unspoken things that just don't happen. I don't date your ex. I don't, those things just don't happen. But sometimes they're happening. I mean, you see these shows now, like you said, with the reality shows, and they're happening now. You see all these ridiculous things about dating exes, and it's just so over the top. Um,
Mhm.
but I see it a lot more, and it's actually pretty great to see, even on Facebook, the groups, the positive groups that are forming, of just, we're just checking in with each other. How you doing? Are you being positive today? That type of thing. It's happening, and a lot of it for me, it started happening when with the, well, like book clubs back in
Mhm.
the day, when people started meeting, and you pick a book and you go to somebody's house, and you started having that community, and then it branched out into other areas where, where it was doing community things in the community, and bringing all your talents together to for a common goal. So
Mhm.
I think it's definitely changed for sure, but it just depends on, I don't know, the age group maybe for me.
So I always think it's interesting because I was on another chat, and the host said the same thing, like, you just don't really see the friendships like that. Maybe in media, definitely we are not seeing it to that level, but I absolutely believe that this is, I mean, we probably created the definition of what friendship looks like, if you're honest about it. you know, I have people who I call auntie who were my mother's friends, or uncle who were their friends. And so this is, I mean, we just carried on what was taught. My daughter's friends call me Ma, or, just it becomes a relationship. And, Black people love the extension. We will extend, we want to cook for you. We want you to, we want to do all of those things. I feel like the friendship that is expressed in this book is something that I understand that sometimes along the way you lose friendships, friends, and different things like that. But I think it's something we've always done. I think we've always done it. Sometimes it'll be so core that you don't even know that this ain't your mother's sister. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
that's how close they have been since you came into this world.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that, like Dana just said, good friends always become family. It's one of those things that unfortunately we don't have the power to portray it
Right.
as often as it's seen in other cultures. But
Right.
I definitely think we do a phenomenal job at showing you what friendship is. Not that there's not bad ones, but if you really think about it, I think you would say that you grew up under that, so to speak. For the
And
most
that's true,
part.
because I did see it with with my mother, and her friends, and um aunts and uncles, like you said. Um and in our Black community, you're right. We
Mhm.
see that extension of friends that become family. Um and I guess it is just a sense of, just, I guess, portrayed in media, that
Yeah, we
that
just don't see it like
see
that.
the negative, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then I see what you're saying too, Tina. That is, based is generational sometimes.
Yeah, we definitely did it different. Mhm.
Mhm. Most definitely.
That's probably because we weren't online. We had to
Right.
actually talk to each other.
Right. Right.
Absolutely.
And that brings up a very good point because we
Right.
lost a lot of social graces and social just being social
Yeah.
um, with the internet and texting.
Yeah. That's true. Did you notice that there was no texting?
Right. You're right about that. I forgot. I didn't even pay attention to that.
Yeah, we weren't texting then. So it wasn't a thing, you know.
Right. It's so inherent in us. It's like until you pointed it out, I didn't even think about that.
Right, right. Thank you, Jennifer. You're gonna
And
enjoy it.
Jennifer helps me out in my group a lot. So
Okay.
she's a big help.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. This cough is really driving me crazy. Um, what was I going to say? Excuse me. You have a question, Tina, for a moment?
I loved the relationship between the women and the children. The children, oh my gosh, they were just adorable, intelligent, and the way that they were able to handle the situations that were happening
Right.
around them. Um, I laughed with them, the things that they were saying. I loved how they were able to be playful, like Unique and Tyree. Their relationship was
Mm-hmm.
amazing, and
Right.
I was thinking like, wow, I would really love to have a relationship like that,
Right.
which I think I do with
Right.
my son. But it
Right.
just made me think, like, as parents, we're always, second guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, we've never done any parenting past today. So I
Right.
don't know if I'm
Right.
doing it right, if I mess something up. But can you maybe talk about that? Like what was I guess the background with that, with the kids and even with the godmoms, and because it all seemed like it was so just wholesome and just natural, and everybody just, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I'll say that is, to me, the relationships and the friendships, that all that foundation was something I received growing up in Buffalo, and that's how it was pretty much in my mother's family. We are friends. We, their kids were my cousins, or godmother, or what have you. Um, and I just kind of transferred that. I thought that the kids were equally important, right? Because I mean, how do you have a friendship and you have children and they not a part of that discussion?
Mhm.
Um, I thought Seisha, being the one friend who had no children, I think it makes her even more of a better godma, because that's like her baby too,
Mhm, mhm,
So she would
mhm.
do for Unique in support of Tyree, right? Because
Yeah.
that's her baby. And then you have the other two, although you don't see them in the fold as much, you recognize that they're friends. They do like to hang with each other from time to time. I just think that that's kind of the natural progression. How can I be friends with you and our children not be together?
Mhm.
Hmm. Or how can I be friends with you and not love your child?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Right.
It just broke my heart, when he I think it was Todd who said that he knew what was happening. And I was like, wow, that's wow. That just, and
Right.
for her, I could feel what she was feeling, because she already felt,
Embarrassed. Hmm.
embarrassed, and my kids are looking at me, what am I doing? And she working through it, and she's growing and getting better. But that moment was just like, wow,
Right.
this is a real moment for him. And the way that she handled it, I thought was just amazing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that happens. Our kids see a lot of things that we think they don't see.
Hmm.
Right.
You don't find out until, like, it's squeezed out of them and in a traumatic situation, or you ask. Sometimes we just don't even ask those questions. But yeah, they see.
But it's
Hmm.
good that they had that relationship where he felt like he could say that,
Hmm.
in confidence and not feel like he
Be
couldn't
mad
express
at them.
himself. Right.
Right. Hmm.
Excuse me. I can't believe the time is flying like it is. I wanted to ask you, get these two questions in to you
Okay.
before. Um, what has the journey been like for you since publishing your book?
I'm gonna tell you, it's been way more than I could have ever imagined. I have to be honest, like
In what way?
every way. Like meeting new people, the way it was received, even the editing process. One of the editors was Donald Weiss, and he did some ghostwriting for Elin Harris, and I mean, been around for 20 something years.
Okay.
And when he gave me a boost of confidence that I didn't know I needed, when he read it, and he came back to me and he said, um, "Is this your first book?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Oh, you have something." He said, "You're going to have a following. I do not believe that this is your." And he said, "I couldn't believe that this is your first book. You've done really good." And I was like, "Oh my goodness!" Again, these are people that I don't know personally. I found them on Reedsy, right?
Okay.
And so just that, the opportunities I've had where people have reached out for me to share the book with others, just conversations one on one from the launch party. If you ever get a chance to go, Rona D writes. I have the launch video. It's just like a 2 minute snippet. It was such a good time. My team has been amazing. It's 8 of them. My husband is one of the team members, and Dana, and they, I mean, when we got together, this is where I really got to have a conversation with the people that read the book. Now this is family and friends, right? So I'm
Right.
not sure how they gonna really take it.
Right.
Are they gonna go ahead and be honest and tell me where? Let me tell you, it was a competition on who was going to read it first. And then I
Okay.
said, well, let's do a Zoom. And Dana was the only one that was able to come in person. And so we got together, and it was supposed to be an hour and a half. It turned into 4 hours, to the
Wow.
point where I literally had to tell them, like, first of all, y'all know this is a book. Uh, and it's 4 hours. I can't do no more. But it was just those experiences have been so amazing to me, that men love it. That I
Mm,
thought, when I'm not sure if there's any authors or anyone in there, but whatever you create, they want you to know what is your target audience.
right.
I would have thought my target audience was ages 30 to 50, because I wrote the book, I was 33 years old, right?
Hmm.
30 to 50. I mean, it is 25 to 85.
Okay.
And so men and women, I didn't count men when I thought, I didn't know that men would receive it as much. So just all of that, everything about it, I enjoy. I do not actually, I always was so nervous about this right here, live. I hate
Hmm.
seeing myself in video. I've become more comfortable with that, because I'm doing it more frequently.
Right. Right.
And it's easy to talk about because friendship is very, very important to me. And the book, you know what I mean? I wrote it, so I know it backwards and forward. So it definitely resonates with me and my spirit. And so that I think that comes across when I'm
Right.
communicating and interacting with people, because it really is something very dear to me. Mhm. So
And it's
everything
dear
about
to a lot of people, so I think they can relate to a lot
it.
of
Right.
what's in the book. Um,
Hmm.
Friendship, and it crosses racial lines as
It
well.
does.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
What surprised you the most about self-publishing or publishing a book in general?
The awards. Um,
Mm,
I did not expect that. I had gotten awards before, like the month, I think one came the very month I published, because you start submitting in advance. And I just, figured, okay, I'll get one and two, but the awards and just what they had written, the reviews, and one of the awards, the National India Excellence Award, Jurors Award, was given to me by a Terry. Oh God, what is his name? He wrote Black Card. Right now, his name
Oh.
escapes me, but he's an author,
Mm-hmm.
and he chose my book. He was like, Rona, you had me dying laughing, like really good. So I mean, for fellow authors to really be impressed
Mm-hmm.
by the story as well. So I want to say that was the most shocking thing. I did not expect to um, obtain 13 awards, both whether it's first, second place, or finalist. A lot of them, when you're finalist, that's really just second place. You know what I mean? And those things are, it was really shocking to me and humbling. Mhm.
Yeah, I can imagine. And that's amazing because when did the book come out?
February 5th of 2022. It's just
Okay.
a little over a year old.
Wow,
Hmm.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
And congratulations too. I meant to tell you congratulations on your Buffalo Rona D drinker day. I love
Yeah.
that.
That was
Love that.
amazing. And, unfortunately, today is the 1 year anniversary of the massacre in
Oh,
Buffalo. So I
oh
want to
yeah,
send my love to, my hometown and everybody.
most
I didn't
definitely.
lose anyone, but I have friends and acquaintances that did. And so that's a real hard one. Um, but yeah, they were so supportive, and it happened. I mean, think about it. This was 8 days before this event
Mm.
massacre actually happened, and where we had it, the store that it happened is cat a corner. It's 2 minutes
Oh my
from the
goodness.
library. So but yeah, they came out. My sister Kim Johnson, she put it together, and I was surprised. I mean, they did an amazing job. The amount of people that poured out, and then all of the declarations and stuff. I was staring at them like, really? They were so proud, and I'm so glad because the story I did, we know it's fiction, but the
Right,
setting of the book is Buffalo.
right,
And so, some of it, those from Buffalo find some things in there. They're like, oh, she done mentioned Loganberry
right,
or
right.
certain things that are Buffalo items, but
Mhm.
it definitely, my husband calls it a tribute or a love story to my hometown. It was my way of
Mm.
living, and it just the foundation of everything that I am today started there. I didn't leave Buffalo till I was 33 years old, so
Mhm.
I was already grown and had a daughter, and you know what I mean. So my
Then you,
foundation
you
was built
left.
there. So I thought that was the best way to do it.
How often do you get back?
Probably once or twice a year. That window of going back home, okay, that is October to April, because it could
Mm.
snow anywhere in between there. I try not to go home. So I went Thanksgiving for this year, and I'm so glad I didn't go Christmas because that was crazy. But like I'll be there twice this year, this summer, but I haven't been this year yet.
Yeah, I know.
They come
I heard
often
Buffalo
to
gets a
me.
lot of. We get a lot of snow here too. I'm outside of Detroit, but
Oh, okay. So you understand.
yeah,
Mhm.
but we've actually had pretty mild. We got hit like twice really bad this year, but compared to like other places, we've been blessed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, I have them coming this way often. They don't mind taking a road trip here. They love coming to Maryland.
I love when I went. I had to try the crab case, of course.
Of course, of course. Mhm,
Of course, but
mhm.
I want to thank you for agreeing to come on the Book Buzz, and I really enjoyed the book,
Thank
and
you so
I
much.
love talking about one of my favorite storylines, friendships. So that gave me an opportunity to do that. Tina, did you have anything you wanted to say in closing?
Stir the pot a little bit. The end of it said the end, maybe. Is there something coming?
There is. I am actually drafting the sequel, so I have been
Okay.
writing, and I didn't intend to make write a sequel. I was just going to do another book, but people have
Right.
been asking for it so much that
Yeah.
Yeah, so this time we'll dive a little more into Candace, and we'll
Oh,
give you some of the backstory too. So yeah, I'm writing. Hopefully by the end of this year, that's what I'm shooting for.
and that's what I meant to ask you, and that brought that up. What's your time to write? When are you most creative, as far as morning or at night?
It's not really either morning or night. Well, it's got to be a beautiful day. I
Mm,
love sun. I love outdoors. I like to write on the deck. It has to be a very peaceful space.
mm,
Um, and then sometimes it'll get a hold of me and I'll just keep writing. I can't stop. Or sometimes I'll get started and then I have to pause because I can
mm.
see I'm getting stuck. So it just depends. I
Okay.
expect that I'll be able to this summer. I should be able to get a lot done because this weather needs to come on and just be consistent.
Right. Say I'm ready too.
Yeah, yeah, I'm ready. I want to get it done. But I have 10 chapters, I think it is so far.
Okay.
So I'm getting there.
Okay. I can't
Mhm.
wait.
Yep,
And you have to come back when it comes
absolutely.
out.
Absolutely. I
All
look
right.
forward
And
to it.
thank you again for coming on. Thank everyone for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. Thank you, Tina, for coming on and helping out tonight.
No problem.
Thank you
And
both. This has
everyone
been
have a
great.
great evening.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
All right. Have a good evening, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
See you next week with a new author.
Yes.